Part 7, Body Practices. Chapter 44, Ejaculation should be converted or consciously chosen. There are many physical and spiritual reasons why ejaculation should be converted into non-ejaculatory whole body, brain, and heart orgasms, but there are also relational reasons. When a man has no control over his ejaculation, he cannot meet his woman sexually or emotionally. She knows she can deplete him, weaken him, empty him of life force. She is one. When a man ejaculates easily, he creates ongoing distrust in his woman. At a subtle level, she feels he cannot be trusted. She and the world can deplete and depolarize him easily. This subtle distrust will pervade the relationship. She will not only doubt him, but actually act to undermine his actions in the world. By undermining him, she demonstrates and tests his weaknesses, but she also hopes that through such tests he can learn to remain full. You won't be willing to bypass ejaculation until you have experienced the much greater pleasures which lie beyond it. In the meantime, notice how you feel in the minutes and days following ejaculation. If you have accumulated a lot of tension in your daily life, ejaculation will afford you a temporary release and relaxation. But as you live your life with more and more true purpose, you won't accumulate so much tension during the day. Then you will discover that ejaculation, for the most part, actually depletes and weakens you. It feels great for a few moments, but the price you pay for the genital sneeze of ejaculation is a much higher level of mediocrity in your daily life. You will find that you just don't have the extra gusto necessary to live your life with utter impeccability. Excess ejaculations pave the road to living a good life, but not a great life. In a subtle way, excess ejaculations will diminish your courage to take risks professionally and spiritually. You will settle for doing enough to get by, to be comfortable, but you will find that you will rather watch TV than write your novel, meditate, or make that important phone call. You will have enough motivation to live a decent life, but ejaculations drain you of the cutting through energy that is necessary to pierce your own wall of lethargy and slice through the obstructions that arise in the world. Your gift will remain largely ungiven. Your woman can feel all of this. She may be sexually turned on by making you ejaculate. It may please her in the short run. She may even say she feels sexually unfulfilled if you don't ejaculate. But there is also a deeper part of her that has never been sexually fulfilled by you because of your tendency to ejaculate frequently and soon. Most women can experience many orgasms, and deeper orgasms. And more importantly, most women have a natural connection between their genitals and their heart. When you ejaculate and lose your erection, you are probably depriving your woman of her fullest capacity of heart, perception, and expression, which is evoked by relaxed, loving, watery hours of your fearless and unstressful genital penetration. It is not simply your genital penetration that touches her deeply, though. The main penetration she feels is your yielding into her, through her, in love. It is the fullness of your presence, the actual invasion of her body by your consciousness that most ravishes her. Face it, if you are like most men, after an ejaculation or two, you don't really want to penetrate or ravish her anymore. You are content to relax in the emptiness of released tension. You don't feel much desire to enter your woman, bodily or emotionally, as you did just before you ejaculated. Your woman feels your lack of desire, and she also intuits, perhaps subconsciously, that your lack of desire also applies towards the world. If she can drain you, so can the world. If she waits for your deepest gifts as you lie feebly in the bed of undesire, so might the world. She senses that you have succumbed to her, that you have allowed temporary pleasures to diminish your capacity for fullest consciousness. She knows you will likewise succumb to the world. One part of your woman is happy she made you come. She is happy you were relaxed and enjoying yourself. Another part of her is disappointed that you've allowed yourself to choose a temporary and pleasurable spasm over the endless ravishment of her and the world. Sometimes she doesn't even know what she is missing. If she's never been with a man who has the capacity for full consciousness during sex, without conceding to the mechanical reflex of ejaculation, then she doesn't even know the extent of her capacity. She doesn't realize how deep and ecstatic sexual loving can be. She has never been utterly dissolved in loving, surrendered beyond a shred of closure, ravished through and through until there is nothing left to ravish. Just openness, love, radiant and alive in all directions. Some women, because of their need to guard and protect their wounded heart, would actually prefer that you ejaculate. That way they never have to open all the way or expose their depths to your touch. They know that after some oral sex and maybe a half hour of intercourse, you will ejaculate and it will be over. They don't want to feel you persist beyond their habitual closure. They would rather stay in control and draw out your ejaculation whenever they want. It is especially this kind of woman who would most benefit from your undiminished capacity to lead her beyond all closure. And it is especially with this kind of woman that you can cultivate your capacity to persist in the giving of your love. The world will constantly test your capacity to give your gift in the face of refusal. A woman who refuses your loving is simply a manifestation of this aspect of the world. Deep down, your woman only wants love, as do you. Her refusal is a form of her fear. She may have childhood wounds that she is afraid of feeling. She may have been hurt as an adult and is afraid that if she opens, she'll be hurt again. But in the present moment, all emotional resistance comes down to the same thing, a refusal to love. Your masculine sexual gift is to coax, humor, shock, and caress her love into melting through her layers of fear. Without imposing your own needs on her, let your love penetrate to the deep part of her that is totally open to love, that is, love itself, and coax it to the fore. Do this slowly, over time, not through conversation, but through bodily communicated presence, care, consciousness, and the liquid loving of sexual intermingling. When she feels the absolutely trustable nature of your loving, that you are truly with her, committed to loving, and you're not going to get lost in the self-enclosed spasm of your own pleasurizing, she will begin to trust you with her most vulnerable core. But not until then. Every time she feels you contorting into your own sensations, she feels you gone, not present, not trustable. She may enjoy giving you an ejaculation, but a deeper, perhaps, unexpressed part of herself will not trust you. Why should she? Why should she expose her deepest part, her most vulnerable heart, only to have you convolute in a paroxysm of self-possessed gratification, followed by your withdrawal into post-ejaculative relational non-interest? Every time she sucks you into an uncontrollable need to ejaculate, she has conquered you. She controls you and masters you. She is in charge, sexually, no matter what manly gesture you make before ejaculating. With a simple flick of her tongue, a silky moan, or a slurping tilt of her pelvis, she can drain you of life. And deep down, she knows the world can do the same to you. A superior man may choose to ejaculate occasionally, but such a choice is made freely before even engaging in sex, not after it is too late. At the last uncontrollable moment before the physiological roller coaster starts heading down the deep dive into screaming release. A superior man is dedicated to the magnification of love through sexuality. He does not settle for less than the total surrender of his woman's heart as well as his own into the fullness of divine union. The pleasures of this dissolution into love so far exceed the typical genital spurt that ejaculation is easily bypassed or postponed once a man and woman have expanded their sexual capacity. Just as your woman tests you emotionally, she will test you she will test you sexually. Even when you are trying not to ejaculate, she may energetically begin to pull the ejaculation from you. As always, her deepest pleasure is in feeling your fullness, your strength, and your love, even while she is testing you. When you don't ejaculate, but demonstrate that the fullness of loving is more important to you than the quick thrill of genital release, then she can truly trust you. But she will continue to test your capacity for loving, even once you've demonstrated your capacity to bypass ejaculation for the sake of a much more profound bliss. The bottom line is this. If ejaculation is not completely a matter of conscious choice for you, your woman knows she controls you sexually. And as long as she knows she's in charge, she won't trust you enough to fully relax in the force of your loving. She will always keep her heart somewhat protected, rather than surrender so deeply in your embrace that she is splayed into divine brightness. She will go for whatever moist pleasures she can get before you lose interest. Your woman will be sexually, emotionally, and spiritually unfulfilled to the extent that you are addicted to ejaculation. And in many ways, the world will be just as unfulfilled by your gifts. Your addiction to cycles of release will not stop you short of full and conscious dissolution into your deepest source, and so your true gifts will not emerge. By strengthening your capacity for the fullest communion sexually, you also strengthen your capacity to dissolve into the source of life and re-emerge soaked in gifts, erect with purpose and full of desire to give your deepest gifts in the face of worldly resistance to you. The superior man dissolves into the mystery and re-emerges full of love to give again and again, without petering out in his sexual relationship with his women and in his creative relationship with the world.